Hello everybody, this is Zaxter99. This is going to be my drive home number 5. Now tonight it looks like I just got off work, 2 o'clock in the morning, and we just had a rainstorm. Lightning in the background, smell of fresh rain. And tonight I want to go ahead and talk about what a lot of people have been talking about for 100 years or more now. Everybody always thinks that we are getting close to the end of time, the end of the world. People think that, technology and everything is getting too advanced and we're going to kill ourselves. And if you look at all the world's problems and you look at the oceans and the pollution and the big swirl of freaking plastic in the ocean, billions of pounds of freaking crap, we are definitely trying to kill ourselves, and the ozone layer, global warming, and everything that is wrong with the earth, and pollution and the ozone layer and everything we're doing. It is pretty scary, but I don't even think any of that is going to be the end of times. I don't think we're going to end up blowing ourselves up with nuclear missiles or, killing ourselves with global warming or any of that crap. I think, honestly, that some of the movies that talk about a deadly virus taking over and taking out the world, I think that's going to be, well, when I think about it, to me, that seems like the most plausible answer to what could happen to humanity should we die off. So let's go ahead and talk about that on this drive home. Let's talk about the end of the world. And let's go ahead and imagine a situation where you wake up in the morning and you hear on the radio of some deadly new virus that's wiping people out at an insane rate and killing off like 99% of humanity. You can imagine, let's say that it happens in just an insane record time. Like within a week or to 10 days, 99% of all humans on Earth today are wiped out. There's no cure. There's no way to help these people. Hospitals fill up in record times. People are deadly sick, and they die within 24 hours after they become infected. And this virus is extremely contagious, airborne. But there's about 0.5% or maybe 1% of humanity that is immune to this virus that takes the rest of the world out in a grisly, super fast time. So if you think about that, 1% of humanity is immune to this virus. For the sake of it, let's just go ahead and call the virus the tiger virus. The tiger virus, just for, shits and giggles, is something that wipes out 95% of all life. We're talking ocean life, we're talking about birds, we're talking about dogs and cats, horses, cattle, everything. 95% of all animals and sea life is taken out, and 99% of humans are taken out. So if you can imagine that, the odds of a family, a 5 or 6 person family, having 2 people, even 2 people survive, is going to be pretty uncommon. So most people that have families are going to see their entire immediate family wiped out, as well as most of their friends. And, external family, their aunts and uncles, their cousins. They might have one or two family members in big families that are still alive. But if you think about it, most families are pretty well split apart, So if you also think about the average neighborhood in America, if you can imagine anywhere from 1 to 5 people in your neighborhood are still alive. If you live in a smaller town, you're not going to have that many people. You have 500 people or 1,000 people in your town. You have 5 to 10 people alive. A city like Salt Lake City, 1 million people, 99% wiped out. Not going to have a whole lot of survivors. It's going to be knocked down to, 1,000? Yeah, 1,000 people out of 1 million. Well, no, it'd be more than 1,000, 10,000. 10,000 people out of 1 million people, that's still not a whole lot for a huge city. Town like where I'm from, Boise, Idaho, 200,000, 300,000 people, knocked down to a few thousand. Pretty scary when you think about that, and it could happen. I mean, what would we do if a deadly virus, you think of other viruses that have hit us like AIDS and the Ebola virus and among others. That to me seems like the most plausible thing that would wipe out mankind. I mean, obviously we could end up getting wiped out from, a lot of different ways. But if we imagine this, and we imagine you wake up, you see your family die a quick death due to a really, really bad sickness that basically eats them from the inside out. It just kills them. They die of basically imagine it like a flu. The flu times 100. Really bad flu virus that just, causes people to overheat. Let's say there's nothing to cool them down. Their temperature goes up to 110, 120 degrees and it fries their brains. And there's nothing to, nothing to keep them from getting that high of a temperature and just causing their brain to cook, if you would. I can see something like that happening. So now imagine you are the lone survivor in your immediate family. If you live with a roommate, you're the only one. You have a family of 8 people, sorry, the odds are you're the only one that survived. You're a kid, you're 9 years old, you're 5 years old, you're 15, you're the only survivor. You watch your siblings, your parents, your guardians, your grandparents, whoever you live with, they're gone. You watch them die of this really bad flu-like virus, and they're dead. And in the houses next to you, most families and most houses are completely wiped out. Everybody dies. Maybe there's one house in 20 where one person survives. 19 out of 20 houses, everybody's dead. What would you do? First of all, just getting past seeing your family and your friends die off would be really, really hard. And then watching luxuries that you have, like your television, your electricity, your water, get shut off. You don't have any luxuries like electricity, internet, your computer don't work. Nothing works anymore. No water, no fresh water running, no heat. What are you going to do? Do you board yourself up? Do you go and maybe try to scrape the food and fresh water and everything from the houses nearby that look empty? bring them all into your house and then board up all your windows? Well, I can certainly imagine in such a time with no law, no law enforcement, no cops, I can certainly imagine that, you know, people would turn pretty, people would turn into gang members. They would turn into, you know, survival of the fittest. And there would be a lot of murder going on. People would be killing each other for basic things that we take for granted nowadays. Bottle of fresh water, bottle of, you know, fruit juice, whatever. Clothes on their back. It'd be an awful scary place. And thugs and punks would run rampant. Rape. Any women would have a super high risk of getting raped and beaten. Kids too. If you're a kid, it'd be the same thing, especially to men. Men in such a world would be beasts. They would be out of control. Sad but true. A world like that, survival of the fittest, would definitely be a scary, scary world. You know, I watched The Walking Dead, and really it wouldn't be any worse, or wouldn't be any better, rather, than the world in The Walking Dead if a virus like that took over. That wouldn't be any better than The Walking Dead. You look at a show like The Walking Dead, and that is their biggest threat, is other people. It's not the zombies. Zombies are freaking stupid. You know, their biggest threat in that show is each other. Who do you trust? Who do you make alliances with? And if you watch that show, they've pretty much learned. That's why I love the show so much. It's about the relationships and the people interactions. And if you watch the show, it's pretty realistic in the manner that, you know, the group of people that we watch in the show has pretty much learned not to trust a damn person except their little group. Trust no one. And it really would become a every man for himself. You know, you go outside your house and you're looking for water. You're going through the other houses. And you're in a house and all of a sudden you hear a gun. A loaded gun. Being reloaded. And you're scared to death when you see that gun pointed at your head. What would you do? You know, maybe you talk your way out of it to the guy you've seen a few times standing in his front yard, but now he's the only one left in the neighborhood with you, and he's holding a gun towards you, and you plead your case. Tell him not to shoot you. Please don't shoot me. Let's work together. So he lowers his gun, and you breathe a sigh of relief. And he decides to work with you, but you can tell he's really only interested in if you have more water, if you have more supplies, more food than he has. He talks you into putting all your things together and living in one house. Maybe he helps you get all your crap, all your fresh water and all your, cans of fruit and food and unperishable food, and bring it over to his house. So you load up a shopping cart and you bring all your crap over to where he's hiding out in his house. But you'd always have that fear. I mean, you don't know this guy that well. You always have this fear that he's just taking you for your food while you're in his house. You're scared to death to go to sleep, because that's when people would kill you. People would be chicken shit. People would slit your throat while you're sleeping, because he only has X amount of bottles of water. You know, everybody's going to be calculating it out, saying, okay, well, if I drink 8 of these bottles of water a day, You know, we have 55 bottles of water. That's only a week's worth of water as it is. And now you got two people, you know they're going to be saying, man, we're only going to survive 3 days if both of us are drinking this water. If I slit your throat, I'll live at least a week. That would be some very, very, very scary situations you'd be in a situation like that. Much scarier than all the monster movies and zombies and everything else that we can contemplate. Other humans in a survival of the fittest without any laws. Much scarier, I think, than any alien life form that we can imagine. Any zombie that we can imagine. Other people. The people we rely on right now. The people we look to and wave to, talk to, would become our greatest threat. For the sake of you, for the sake of me, and our families and our friends, I hope that all of us, our kids included, never see that day. Never see the day that humanity is wiped out, except for those few survivors. I hope we never have to see a survival of the fittest. I hope that if a virus does take over, it just goes ahead and kills everybody quick, a quick painless death. Because a life like that, for the remaining survivors, would be hell. What would you live for? You lose your kids, you lose your parents, you lose your brothers and sisters, you lose everybody in your family. What purpose would there be in living? Going through that daily threat, that daily need for survival, that daily need to find fresh water and food and stay warm. Everything you would need to do to survive. What would be the purpose of doing all that without people you love? A threat against other raiders, the thugs, the bandits. It'd be one scary ass world. I, for one, am glad we live in a world we do, and I don't take it for granted, and neither should you. Be sure you leave your comments down below. Let me know what you guys think. I'd love to know what you guys think. Does a thought like that, does an end to our world like that scare you? And what would you do if you woke up and 99% of your town, of humanity, was wiped out? Let me know down in the comments below, or better yet, make a video response to my video and tell me what you do. Tell me what you imagine. I'd love to see that video. I'd love to read your responses, whatever you decide to do. Be sure you rate this video. Be sure you like this video. Be sure you share it. And make sure you subscribe. Thanks for watching, everybody. This has been Drive Home. Talk to you in the next one. Take care, everybody.